YouTube, my name's Jason and this is my first YouTube video. I've been meaning to do this for a while and I just want to thank Nick Hills, eBay reseller, just for giving me the motivation to put my finger out the backside and start documenting all this stuff I've been buying for the last few years and sitting on it and not really doing anything with it really. So this first video, I'm going to talk a bit about myself and kind of things that I do and what I'm actually going to achieve by these videos. And if you can get any help or information from this yourselves, then fantastic. And we'll just see how we get on. Okay. So I collect and buy retro games, DVDs, Blu-rays, first edition books. Anything odd and unusual sort of collectibles, not like in a huge geeky way, but I've got like a good awareness, I think, of what might be worth money and what's tart, and I don't know, it just seems to have I've always had a good eye for stuff at car boot sales and charity shops, that kind of thing. So it's something I've been doing really as a hobby for about 10 years now, I think, 10 to 12 years. I've had the odd sale on eBay. I wouldn't call myself an eBay seller, but it's the more and more it's kind of gone on, and just really I think it's something that I'd like to develop, to be honest, and see where it goes really. I have a real job. I run a pub where I live as well, upstairs. I've been here for about nearly 12 years. It's a fantastic little pub, very busy. And I work evenings, which generally gives me daytimes to myself, which enables me to go out and go around all the charity shops and hammer them really. So yeah, so this is it. So what I'm going to start with today is go through a little pickups that I had today. Since I kind of started watching Nick's videos a few weeks ago, I've been really spending probably too much money at charity shops and car boots, more than I should. I was just trying to build up a stock of items with an aim to start listing them, which I have done, and I've had a few good sales as well. So I'm not going to go through everything that I've bought in the last few weeks. I will show you some more interesting items in some later videos, if there are later videos. But just for now, I'm just going to show you what I've got today. Now I live in North Wales, near a town called Rhyl, which you may have heard of. There's loads of charity shops in Rhyl, like loads of them. There must be about 12 charity shops all dotted around, constant turnover of stock. There's always good stuff. Slight problem is that I can't always get mobile internet when I'm out and about, so there's some dead spots, like even in the high street. So sometimes it can be a bit hit and miss, my pickups, because I'm in an R about whether I should get this particular DVD or that book, or you know, which edition of it is this or that. So I've been over cautious maybe sometimes, but yeah. So anyway, right, today, this is actually, some of these things are from a little charity shop in the village. I live in a small village which is near Rhyl, and they've got a fantastic amount of stuff coming in constantly. And then, you know, the village is only like, it's not even like probably 1,500 people that live here, but yeah, they get really good stuff in there. All the books are priced at like 60p each. All the DVDs are 50p each to £1, and they kind of include PC games in that because they don't really have an awareness of what they're selling. CDs are like 4 for £1. Toys are all, you know, 50p, £1 each, and I've had some fantastic things over the years from them. Loads of them I've kind of kept for myself, and then others I've flipped on and made a little bit of money on, or passed on to like friends and kids and things like that. But yeah, today, yeah, here we go. This is what I got. I've got a Ben 10 Omnitrix. It seems to have like a little bit of, there we go. It's like a little game that you can kind of play. I haven't actually had a look at it too closely, but it all works. It's a nice bit of kit actually. I've got a little girl, so I wasn't really sort of into the whole Ben 10 thing, missed all that. She's 10 and a half now, so yeah, never really sort of followed the Ben 10 thing. some of it so it seems to, you know, it's quite. I was going through some of the figures on eBay, and some of them are going for between like the, you know, £5 to £15 mark. So they're the kind of things that you see at charity shops for like 50p to a quid. So, you know, there's good money on that. Now this thing here, this particular one, there's probably about half a dozen different Omnitrix things, and that the kids wear them, and some of them project onto walls, others just kind of light up. But this has got a little LCD screen, and it's actually like a game that you can play, I presume. It's in good working order. I paid £2 for that. I should get between £10 and £12 back on it. So yeah, not a huge amount of money, but that's the kind of markup that I like to achieve on anything that I want to buy. I won't buy something just to double my money on it. I'd like to at least, you know, treble, quadruple my outlay. That kind of covers then if it doesn't sell, or any costs that I haven't factored into it. So I always like to try and work to good profit margins rather than buying something for £5 and hoping to get £10 on it. I'd probably a bit hesitant on that, you know. So yeah, I'm maybe a little bit pickier. Nick's kind of opened my eyes to be more aware of stuff that I would not even considered in the past, which is great. But I find myself rooting through like rubbish bins now in charity shops. Well, not literally rubbish bins, but yeah, just looking for stuff that, you know, I would never even considered it before, because I wouldn't have thought the margins were that high. So yeah, so thanks for that, Nick. Yeah, cheers. So yeah, that's quite cool. So I'm going to get that listed soon. What else did I get? I got books. Books are a funny one. Nick doesn't really do much in books, and some of the other guys through Nick's videos, Tom the English Picker, the guy called Joe, I think, as well. Don't really sort of focus on the book side of it too much, and within reason, really, because it's a really fickle market, especially fiction. I kind of collect like modern first editions, things like that. I've always have done since I was like a teenager. Started off being like a big horror fan, so it was like Stephen King, Clive Barker, that kind of thing. And, you know, I was buying up these first editions thinking they were going to be worth loads of money, and they're not realising that there were so many millions of them printed that, you know, I wouldn't say they're worthless, but they don't really hold any sort of resale value. I mean, they're nice to own, they look lovely on the shelves, but you're never going to become a millionaire sitting on 40 Stephen King first editions. But anyway, there are still bargains to be had if you know what you're looking for, and I seem to have developed a pretty good eye over the years for the unusual and things that kind of a bit out of the ordinary. So yeah, this is what I got today. This is a strange one. This is the Malleus Maleficarum. Now this is a very old text that's been translated. It's all to do with what to do with witches, really. So it's like a real historical book, all about how I think witches were dealt with and the ethics of witches and things. Anyway, really strange things to turn up at a charity shop. So it was 60p. So couldn't really. I found a few examples of it on eBay. There wasn't loads of it, so I've put it on Amazon instead. I've got like a little Amazon shop that doesn't really do that much. It's okay. I find Amazon a bit hit and miss, really. It's why I've kind of moved back onto eBay on the back of Nick Hill's videos. So, but I've got this on Amazon for £6. So yeah, you know, I'm hoping to get that. What I always try and do is try and list mine as like the lowest item. For like DVDs and media, that's a nightmare because you're constantly getting swiped by Overstocks. You know, you put yours at £3, they'll automatically reduce theirs to £2.99. So you follow suit, and then before you know it, you know you're listing stuff for like £1.50. It's just ridiculous. So I try not to put my media on there too much now. I've gone back to putting them on eBay and just trying to get like the actual value for something, even if it's like a couple of quid, rather than trying to just constantly price match Overstocks who just own everything by the looks of it. So yeah, quite an interesting book. And to be honest, if it was like 10 years ago, I'd have probably kept it for myself because it's quite cool. I'll never read it, but yeah, it's just a nice thing to have on the shelf. So yeah, that was good. And then a few CDs. These again from a couple of the local charity shops. No Car Boots on a Tuesday. The weather's been awful as well. It's been like horrendously windy and that. We have like a massive car boot on a Sunday, as like pretty much every town does. And there's a good one on Saturday. There's a place called Tear Prints, which is a fantastic, huge market full of stores selling tat and knockoff toys and things like this. But at the back end of it, there's a huge car boot section, which is usually really good. And my resolution with this now is to kind of really kick myself up the arse and actually start going to that every week and hit the car boot side of it. And because at the other end there's loads of toy collectors and they're all a bit naughty and they all seem to think that everything they sell is worth huge amounts of money, and it's not. And anyway, so yeah, I'm getting sidetracked because I didn't think this would be this easy to do, and it is. So here we go. So actually, yeah, kind of just say anyone maybe else thinking of doing any pickup videos or starting these video chats, do it, because it's actually easier talking to the camera than I ever thought it would be. So yeah, cheers. Right, so yeah, a couple of CDs. I got I'm not into rap music, but the Trespass soundtrack. It's a film that I used to love when I was like 16. I think everyone did. And I seem to remember the soundtrack at the time was like kick-ass, and we used to copy it and swap it around with our mates in school and stuff like that. So I saw that and I thought, well, you know, it's got to be worth 25p. It's in good nick. And I might make like 150 on it. I don't know. I'll see. Put it to one side and see where I go. And then anything sort of a little bit unusual and off the beaten track, music-wise, I'm really, I'm into some strange and weird stuff. I've got like a really broad musical awareness. Don't really do the mainstream stuff, which is why I was sort of surprised what Nick does so well with his bundles with his CDs, because that's something I would have never even picked up in a million years. So yeah, and the same charity shop I got that from. Got the Noisettes album, quite a cool band. Really, really funky, spiky, punky pop. It's ace. They've done a couple of albums. Didn't really sort of do much after that. I might get another 150 for that, £2 maybe. Not a lot. I like the look of it, and it's a shame to leave them there really for, like, you know, quality stuff. And that's the sort of dilemma I have, and I've always had. I think, oh, you know, I can't leave that sat there, and I'll buy it and need to start selling. So I'm having a massive purge of all my stuff, as well as buying stuff solely to sell. So it's kind of a two-part thing I've got going on at the moment. Don't even get me started on my Lego collection. It's just ridiculous, but that's for another video. And the last pickup today really is this. Howard Jones, who was like a well-known 80s musician. Not really my sort of thing, but I'm aware of him. I've heard some of his stuff, and this was in one of the charity shops where I've got no internet, so it just caught my eye. It was a really unusual case, and again, I kind of will get drawn to these things sometimes, just stuff that looks a little bit different and a little bit unusual, and I just had a feeling that it's got to be worth £1. So yeah, Howard Jones album called Ordinary Heroes. Really nice sort of foil on there. It's a lovely, lovely design. I'm a sucker for well-designed CD cases and things like that. I'm a real design geek as far as that's concerned. But yeah, everything's there. CD's never been played by the looks of it. And I had a nice surprise when I got home and scanned it into Amazon. The cheapest was a tenner. So yeah, not bad. So I've stuck that on Amazon for £9. So yeah, I'll get good return on that, hopefully. I've also started organising my stock tonight a little bit, so it feels weird calling it a stock when really it was always just that pile of crap in the other room that I just walk past every time. But yeah, I guess I'm calling it stock now. So I've taken a load of photos of loads of my vintage games that I'm going to sell on. I've got loads of stuff like Amiga games, Spectrum games, nothing really, really rare, but you know, I've opened another bank account, a current account, and that's solely going to be for my eBay purchases. It's a bit long-winded with PayPal to set up the extra accounts and then link eBay to it and all this kind of thing. So, but I've done it, and yeah, so I've got all that there ready to go now, and yeah, I've got some things. Oh yeah, that's what I'll do. Last thing in the video because I don't know how long these things are meant to last. But yeah, I've got some things finishing on eBay tomorrow as well. Quite a few unusual items actually. Right there. I've got this thing. I picked this up at the Real Car Boot a few weeks ago, and I remember it from the 80s. I'm a real 80s kid, I was into my Transformers and He-Man and Mask and Thundercats and all the usual stuff. I'm 36, by the way, so yeah. And I always remember these things. Never owned one, but I remember seeing them in the toy shops. And then, okay, anyway, I'll just show you what it is first of all. It's a Bandai Egg Monster. Now it's sealed in its original packaging. I paid £3 for this from a really unusual stall that was selling loads of old toy shop stock, loads of kitsch, 50s, 60s, 70s sealed toys, and a lot of them look like absolute tap, but some of them were a bit unusual. And anyway, I paid £3 for this. It's completely sealed. Gone on eBay on completed listings. There's a few similar ones that have sold anything between the £30 and £60 mark. and they're all opened and used in second hand. So this is new. So I've got about 14, 15 people watching it. Don't know what it's going to go for. I'm hoping 40, 50 quid. That'd be fantastic. But yeah, basically it's like a little dinosaur that folds up into an egg, and that's it. It's an egg that opens to a dinosaur. It's got a funny little thing with it. But in Japan, these things are still huge. Bandai makes these egg monsters out of everything. They've just done a range of Star Wars ones where you can get Darth Vader, C-3PO, and they fold up into eggs. And that's it. But there's a really, really good collector's market in Japan, but I don't think many filtered over here to Europe and to Great Britain. But in the 80s, they did a range of these, and there was like a Frankenstein, I vaguely remember Dracula, skeleton, other kinds of things. So that caught my eye. So that's finishing tomorrow, so I'll do another video and let you know how I got on with that. And then a couple of PC games, which, I mean, I see big box PC stuff everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of crap out there, but generally, you can't go wrong with the LucasArts stuff. Anything LucasArts have ever made, snap it up. If you see it in charity shops, whether it's in a DVD case or especially if it's in the big box stuff, it's really, really sought after. So I got Loom. That's finishing tomorrow. Don't know what that's going to go for. There hasn't been one on completed listings on eBay. Not this exact one. This is the original release, and it's on CD-ROM, not on the 3.5-inch floppy, so it's more desirable because it can be played on more recent computers, obviously. It's got like the instructions and the inlay with it, and I think I paid £3 for that from a local charity shop. I think that's going to go for about 30 quid. I'd be disappointed if I get less than 20. 30 maybe top end, that would be nice. But anything LucasArts, obviously you've got, everyone knows Sam & Max and Monkey Island games, obviously all the Star Wars and Indiana Jones graphic adventures are really popular for, you know, late 80s to late 90s kind of period, and they've had a bit of a resurgence with Telltale games now, that kind of thing. So graphic adventures are really collectible and hold their value amazingly well. And if you see anything in a big box like that, and if it says Lucasfilm or LucasArts on the top, buy it, because it's just a no-brainer. And then this one as well that I've been sat on for years. Oh, that one I only got a few weeks ago. This one here, I've had it for years, and I don't know why. I like the look of it. I think there was a sequel that came out on the Xbox, the original Xbox, I think, or maybe in the 360. But yeah, there's a sequel that came out to it, and it's like kind of got like a bit of a cult following. Again, it's like a sort of graphic adventure type platformy thing, but yeah, again, I don't know what that'll go for. 10 would be nice. I've got quite a few watches on it, a few bids and that, so it shows promise. So yeah, that's what's finishing tomorrow. So there we go. That's my first YouTube video. So let me know, you guys, what you think of it, and if there's anything you want to see in particular, anything you want me to talk about that maybe the other guys haven't touched on. And if any of you guys, the likes of Nick and Joe and Tom and anyone else out there, if you feel free to share information, because I really don't think there's enough of us out there sharing information. Everyone feels that they've got to hold on to all this knowledge and competing with each other, and that's just crap. I think the country's big enough that we can sustain hundreds and hundreds of us all sharing knowledge and all buying up and selling on, and you know, and just making a go of it, really. So yeah, so there we go. So thanks very much, YouTube, and I'll see